Hello and welcome to HITC Sport. Right, I'm going to go back to 2001 and look at the biggest club who were dissolved each and every year right up until 2020. Sure, some of these clubs might have come back under a new name or been merged with another club, but still, I'm looking at which teams no longer exist. 2001 KSV Waregem. Right, good old KSV Waregem. I know what most of you are thinking. Who or what is that? Well, how dare you speak ill of the dead? KSV Waregem is one of the oldest ever Belgian clubs, formed in 1925 and with a fairly proud history. This is a club who were promoted to the top flight in 1966, reached UEFA Cup semi-finals in 1986, and if that still doesn't impress you, they were once managed by Wilbal Schilschel, that famous Ajax interim coach in 1953, so you start showing him some respect. Sadly for Waregem, they're currently as dead as Togna's jokes, having plummeted into financial problems back in 2001. Well, to be fair, they were forced to merge with Zoltse VV and transform into SV Zulte Waregem, who are just 7 points behind Anderlecht in the Belgian top flight, but the original club is gone. 2002 Erdrionians FC. The original Erdrionians formed as Excelsior FC in 1878, back in the days when you could be imprisoned for being ugly, like the Lord Carlos Tevez wasn't born back then. This was a proud club in North Lancashire, and during their 124-year existence, the Diamonds won the old Scottish Division 2 times, the Spring Cup once, and the Scottish Challenge Cup 3 different times. This was a club where Owen Coyle finished top scorer 5 different times. Christ, that fellow looked like George Clooney back then. Now he looks like someone who irons his own face. Anyway, due to financial complications, they were the first club in the Scottish League to fold in 1967, as they shut their doors in 2002, much to the devastation of about 7 angry Scots. 2003 Kenya U17 team. Okay, fair enough, this wasn't a football club, but still. In April 2003, the Kenyan U17 team was banned from all African youth competitions for a period of 2 years. Why? Well, because apparently the side were found to have fielded players over 20 years of age for an African Championship qualifying game. Lads, 2004 Wimbledon FC. Do Wimbledon FC exist? Many of you will call me insane and point to both MK Dons and AFC Wimbledon. For Christ's sake, the English League is stuffed to the brim with clubs claiming to be the Dons. But no, simple fact is that the Crazy Gang, the former Premier League club who stunned Liverpool in the 1988 FA Cup final, a club filled with on-field hooligans who probably say hello by slamming your head in a car door. For Christ's sake, Dennis Wise looks like he eats a bowl of human ears for breakfast. Vinnie Jones nearly performed an on-pitch castration in front of 50,000 people. Anyway, after the Taylor report demanded all-seater grounds for top flight clubs in 1991, instead of simply chucking seats into Plough Lane, this original Wimbledon spent the 90s ground sharing Crystal Palace, before geniusly deciding to leave London and drag the club 60 miles up the M7 to Milton Keynes. An absolutely hideous decision. It's like relegating Manchester United to Nottingham, or suddenly sticking Anfield in Blackpool. Absolutely mental. Anyway, in 2004, Wimbledon FC were dissolved and transformed into MK Dons, with AFC Wimbledon set up by a section of furious fans. And incredibly, this 18-year-old club, a club barely old enough to drink, a club simply born out of objection and forced to begin life in the 9th tier, are just 2 points behind MK Dons in League 1, and even beat them in 2017. Incredible. 2005 SV Austria Salzburg. Here we have another club suffocated to death by money and greed. SV Austria Salzburg are technically alive and well, but no. Make no mistake about it, this is a new club that were formed by an angry fan base back in 2005 after their original club was renamed FC Red Bull Salzburg. Whatever existed before the Red Bull makeover in 2005, it does not exist now, just being swallowed up by that energy drink's millions. Red Bull were so ruthless, even after changing the colours from purple to red, declaring a new club, the only fibre of tradition they kept was just allowing the goalie's socks to be purple for away matches. Oh, how very generous. 2006 K Berengin Hrustenzolder. Believe it or not, during the 2000s, this club became the fastest rising team ever in Belgian football, being promoted 5 times in only 10 years without being relegated once, but they were relegated in 2004, then fell into financial sinkhole and tumbled all the way down to the 3rd division before getting liquidated in 2006. 2007 Amica Wronki. What a bizarre name for a football club. Yeah, Amica Wronki weren't around very long. Priced above, they were a Polish club born in 1992, but within 4 years they were winning promotion from the 4th division to the Orange Ekstraklasa. Anyway, a top flight Polish club who regularly competed in Europe. In May 2006 they merged with Lech Poznan, and so the reserve team then became Amica Wronki's first team, but only lasted 1 season before it was completely dissolved altogether. 2008 Gretna FC. Well, I could touch on FK Riga, a Latvian football club with UEFA Cup experience, and who were once managed by some PE teacher from Norwich, but no, instead stepped forward good old Gretna FC. Founded in 1946 near the English-Scottish border, the club mostly played in the semi-professional leagues of English football until they were elected to the Scottish Football League in the 3rd attempt in 2002. Didn't last long though. Sure, they ended up promoted to Scottish football's top flight and reached the 2006 Scottish Cup final, only losing on penalties to Hearts, but ended up swallowed in financial difficulties. Forced to make the club staff redundant, couldn't guarantee fulfilment of fixtures, were demoted back to Division 3 and were forced to resign their place in the Scottish Football League in June 2008. Yes, a Phoenix club have since been started by the fans, but the original Gretna, the one who once had Kyle Naughton on their books, are dead. 2009 RAA Lovrizi. Oh, RAA Lovrizi. Yes, this is probably a club who many of you have never heard of. Christ above, it sounds like a brand of hand sanitizer, but lads, this was once a proud Belgian club situated in the province of Hainaut. This was a club founded in 1913. They lifted the Belgian Cup and Super Cup in 2003. They played UEFA Cup football that year, with Peter Odemwingie scoring in a 1-1 draw with Benfica, which earned him a trial with Blackburn Rovers at the end of the season. I'm not sure if he was offered the trial or if he just turned up in his car and refused to leave, but either way, good on him. Anyway, the club was quickly caught up in a gambling match fixing scandal that rocked Belgian football. They finished bottom of the league, were refused a license to then play in the second division. Anyway, within 3 years they'd merged with RACS Coulée to form Football Coulée La Louvrière, leaving the muddied name of RAA Lovrizi buried in the dirt. 2010 Chester City FC. Formed in 1885, they've been extinct since 2010 after unsuccessfully trying to join the Welsh Premier League. After amassing debts of 7 million quid, breaking financial rules, cancelling matches, they were wound up and destroyed forever. This was a club who'd once employed the likes of Lee Dixon and Ian Rush. Shame what happened to them. 2011 Rushden and Diamonds. Special mention for Sporting Fingal FC, an Irish club who were only around between the years of 2007 and 2011, but hey, managed to win the FAA Cup and qualify for the Europa League twice. Not bad for a 4-year existence. But yeah, their demise was triggered by the collapse of the Irish property bubble. I remember those years well. I lived in a tent and used to drink cow piss for dinner. But 2011 belonged to the death of Rushden and Diamonds FC. Only formed in 1992, they shot up the leagues, dragged themselves into conference football, wound up in the Football League. By 2003 they were lifting the League 2 title, finishing above clubs like Bournemouth, Hull and Swansea. But while those clubs went on to bigger and better things, Rushden collapsed. Unsteady ownership and a revolving door manager saw them relegated back to the conference. The attendance was down by 50%. There was a brief renaissance under the late Justin Edinburgh's manager, God rest his soul, leading the club to the Football Conference playoffs and into the second round of the FA Cup, but it was short-lived. Their best players left, including Lee Tomlin, Mark Byrne and John Terry's brother. Their inspirational goalkeeper Dale Roberts died at just 24 years of age, hours before an FA Trophy match in December 2010, which understandably rocked the club. There was yet more changing ownership, a transfer embargo, a Twitter row with ex-player Leon Knight, an expulsion from the conference at the end of the season, debts of £750,000, and that was the end of that. 2012 Dalian Shide FC. Well, I just know that if I dare to mention Rangers, I'll have about 20,000 angry Glaswegians threatening to cut off my feet, so instead, let's just say Dalian Shide, a Chinese football club founded in Dalian and played their stuff in front of 55,000 people at the Dalian People's Stadium before downgrading to 30,000 with the Jinju Stadium. Not too often clubs relocate to smaller stadiums, bit weird. Anyway, they won the Chinese Super League 8 times. This was back before it was a division littered with overpaid mercenaries. Anyway, former players include Sun Ji-hai and Man United superstar Dong Fangju. Anyway, in November 2012 they were bought by Airbin Group and merged into Dalian Airbin FC, and that was the end of that. 2013 Germinal Beerschot AC. Good old Germinal Beerschot AC, another Belgian club. Christ, what is with that country killing their football teams? Anyway, founded in 1920, they were a staple of the Belgian Pro League throughout the 2000s, played European football during the 90s, won the Belgian Cup twice, although as is the case for many, they dreamed too big and were declared bankrupt in May 2013, 1 week after relegation. This is a club whose youth academy produced the likes of Thomas Vermaelen, Moussa Dembele, Rajan Angolan, Jan Vertonghen, Victor Wanyama and Toby Alderweireld. Good lord. 2014 Chivas USA. Well, Hereford United deserve a mention. A club whose biggest achievement was when as a non-league team they knocked top flight Newcastle in the FA Cup in 1972. Unfortunately for them, the former club of Jared Bowen, Steve Bull and Sam Klukas, they went bust in 2014. So did Chivas USA. Founded in California back in 2004, they played MLS football for 9 years, shared the StubHub Centre with local rivals LA Galaxy. There were rumours it would be sold to Cardiff City owner Vincent Tan. Didn't happen. The club ceased operations in October. Their club's players were raffled off to the rest of the league, and within 4 years, Los Angeles FC was forming in their place. 2015 Parma. Yeah, I know they've since been reborn, but let's not forget that Parma briefly died in 2015. This is a club who won the UEFA Cup twice in the 90s, lifted 3 Coppa Italias. They're one of the most successful Italian clubs of all time, and yet in 2015 were declared bankrupt with debts of 280 million euros, including unpaid wages of 63 million. And so briefly, they were extinct. 2016 FC Volga Nizhny Novgorod. Yeah, this is a 50-year-old Russian club who went through a bunch of name changes, played in front of 18,000 people at the Lokomotiv Stadium, were promoted to the Russian Premier League in 2010, but within 6 years they had amassed crazy debts and were dissolved. Interesting how many teams go bust so soon after hitting the big time. 2017 FC Unurea Usikeni. I could touch on Chiapas FC, a brief Mexican club with just a 15-year history. For Christ's sake, Jackson Martinez is their second top goal scorer of all time, and he left the club at 25 years of age. Anyway, let's go with FC Unurea Usikeni. This is a club who were national champions of Romania back in 2009. They spent the 09-10 campaign playing Champions League football, beating Rangers 4-1 in Glasgow, Sevilla 1-0 in Bucharest, only being dumped out of European competition that season by Liverpool. But due to an outstanding debt owed to Steaua owner Gigi Bicali, the club began to fall off the map, and by 2017, less than a decade after the Champions League exploits, they were extinct. 2018 FC Tosno. Poor old FC Tosno. Only formed in 2013, they only lasted 5 years. By 2018, they'd been promoted to the Russian Premier League, knocked out reigning champion Spartak Moscow en route to winning the Russian Cup. As a result, they should have been due to play Europa League football because of that. But for some reason, the president announced they'd missed the deadlines for UEFA licensing applications and weren't eligible to participate. They were instead relegated, and there were further licensing problems, and they were just dissolved in 2018. What a quick way for a club to press the self-destruct button. 2019 FC Dnipro. A shout out to Berry FC, of course, but sorry lads, FC Dnipro have stolen your thunder. This is a Ukrainian giant, a club who finished third in the country's top flight 7 times since 1992. They'd won the Ukrainian Cup 3 times, reached the goddamn Europa League final in 2015, only losing the game 3-2. Yes, losing to Sevilla was painful, but it was Sevilla's former manager who inadvertently killed the club. After serving as a coach for 4 years, the club owed Wande Rama's outstanding unpaid debts. As a result, they were given a transfer embargo, docked points, relegated, deducted even more points, before FIFA relegated them to the amateur leagues. They chose instead not to participate, and so there you have it. The death of a club 4 years after Europa League final. Mental. 2020 Limerick FC. This is tragic. Limerick FC, my hometown goddamn club. A football team who've employed lads I should sit beside and Max. Goddamn England managers have begun their management careers at Limerick FC. Founded in 1937, they've won the League of Ireland twice, the FAI Cup twice, the League of Ireland Cup 3 times, competed in Europe on 6 occasions, one of which included a draw against the Salamsa team, which included a former Ballon d'Or winner in their starting lineup. They also nearly beat Real Madrid at Lansdowne Road back in 1980. And yet, after all that history, because of debts of €480,000, they didn't receive a League of Ireland licence for the 2020 season. And now, instead of Limerick FC, instead say hello to Treaty FC. Good lord. Anyway, that's the end of it, lads. Let me know, have I left any clubs off this list? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.